at everyone. Live on Maine, baby. You can kiss 100 girls in bars and you... Hi everyone, I'm early enough to see you my say I'm appreciate. Thank you so much. Might I say. There we are. Very cool, thank you so much. This is the most important minute for y'all to be sending likes because this first 2 seconds is when they decide how much they're going to push me out to the FYP. So if you want to help me be pushed out to the FYP, am I currently majoring in something? I applied for a course in a minute, but it's not. English system's different, but I do law. So we will see if I graduate, which I will. I'll do it good. Guys, you can kiss 100 girls in bar. Rah. I don't know why I have these on. I was just outside. Okay, keep on sending likes, everyone. Thank you so much. You're my favorite little... I want to major in poli-sci and media journalism. That's so awesome. I have some journalist friends that are great. And not a penny to Palestinians. What? I love your hair. Thank you. It's a little bad right now because I went to sleep after I did it. But oh well. Share this like this live. Share this live, like this live, and slay the day. If you disagree with any of these statements up here, send a guest request. Thank you. I didn't love how it looked right now. But oh well, thank you. The vest is eating. Thank you. I try. I do actually try. It was thrifted. I'm very pleased with it. How am I? I'm doing great. I'm living my life. Living my life in London. Okay, let's try and get a disagreeer up in here. Also, guys, my YouTube is doing okay, but if you don't follow my YouTube already, go follow it. Living my life in London, London. How are you? Doing really well. I'm really enjoying life right now. I need to get more YouTube shorts out. Lots are coming, I think. I haven't actually checked my... Okay, keep on sending likes. Thank you so much for the 6,000 likes, but if 100 people send likes, we will be living. Oh. Oh. Description, visit... Oh, why are there no more YouTube shorts coming? Wait, shorts. Oh, there we are. Okay, yeah, I've got 5 more coming. Slay. Bonjour. I think the US should have never given money to Ukraine. Meh. Have you posted new videos on YouTube? Yes, I have, queens. And they're edited. Guys, they're edited. Israel will be exposed and hated in the next few years? Yeah. Can I get a congratulations for editing them? Literally never. Hello, Cheyenne. Shan?
Hi.
Hi, what'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
I'm pro-life.
You're pro-life? Great. Why are you pro-life?
Because I value potential sentence.
Okay, but why do you want to force a woman to give her body to that life? I don't contend that it's not a human or not deserving of rights. I just contend that the mother is also deserving of rights, and one of those rights that is included is the government not forcing her to give her body to anyone.
I think that because the child or the fetus is reliant on the mother, she should protect the fetus.
So do you believe I have an obligation to anyone who's reliant on me?
Like an example, could you give me one?
Literally anything. So it's your principle. Do you believe, or are you saying that principle is general, or is it specific?
When I say reliant, I necessarily mean physically reliant on the mother. What
does it mean to be physically reliant in this context?
I think because in the beginning, sorry?
What do you mean by physical? In my case, in my view, reliance means I rely on air to breathe, because if air was not provided to me, I would not live. If I rely on a person, it means that without that person's materials, something, labor, whatever, any number of things from that person, I may die, right? So I rely, if I need a blood transfusion, there's only one person that could practically give me a blood transfusion, then I'm reliant physically on them because I need a physical thing from them. That's what I hear when you say that word. What do you agree with that definition, or do you mean something else?
I agree with the definition, but when I say reliance, I mean in the context of the idea that at some stages of a pregnancy, the fetus is reliant on the mother to grow, as in, yeah, if that makes sense.
So it's just, are you saying, okay, the thing is we're trying to whittle down, right, the principles that you're talking about, this process, like I'm really trying to get at like your morals or your view of the world that leads you to this conclusion, and so keeping on the specific doesn't super help. So I don't think I don't think reliance itself is enough to have an obligation. I don't think you do either, because I unless I'm wrong. So if we accept reliance itself is not enough for someone to have an obligation to you, simply because someone would die without something of mine doesn't mean that I have to give it to them. I feel like that's a pretty common sense proposition. That you need to add another element to this, and really we're talking about that element that gives an obligation.
I do think it's dependent on the situation. Of course, reliance and all kind of examples won't fall into the context. I think it's dependent. Like, for example, say a 2-year-old, right? A 2-year-old cannot live on their own. A 2-year-old cannot survive on their own, and most of the time they're relying on somebody else to survive, or relying on something else to survive. And I'll say in most countries, say in the UK at least, it is someone's responsibility to protect that child. So in the cases of abortion, no one can physically protect that child from an abortion except for the mother itself.
So let's go through these obligations. From my view, I don't want to force women to give their body to a child. And when we talk about protection of children, right, we're talking about either positive protect them from positive violations, physical like violations of their own body, unaliving directly, like stabbing or something. You get what I mean? Or failing another responsibility, like a parental responsibility, not feeding them, right? The two kind of categories of what we mean when we protect children. An abortion via the abortion pill doesn't fall into the first category, right? Because the abortion pill affects the mother's body and then changes how it interacts with the fetus's body, but only insofar as it stops giving things to the fetus. So it must fall into the second category if we're going to say we're protecting it by doing it, where she has some form of obligation to give her body to the fetus. That's what I'm contesting. She doesn't have an obligation to give her body to the fetus, because it's not wrong. Like there are children all over. It's not wrong for me not to feed those children, right? So we don't have a prima facie obligation, my merit of children existing, my merit of me existing, to feed them. So what I'm asking for is that where does this special obligation come from?
Well, I think when you compared it to you don't have to feed your child, I think the only reason why you don't have to feed your child is because somebody else can feed your child. When a fetus is living inside of a woman, I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
I kind of get what you're saying, but it's not really true.
But in the case of a fetus inside someone's belly or whatever, it cannot be reliant on someone else except for the mother. And so in that case, I think...
So you think, let's try and make this outside. If there was a child who needed a kidney transplant, and I was the only match genetically, and we knew that it would not survive long enough to search for another match, so it is physically reliant on me, does that give me an obligation to give my kidney? Totally unrelated child, nothing to do with it. Let's start there.
No.
Okay, so unique reliance is what you're describing. I'll term it. Unique reliance, meaning you're reliant on just one person. Unique reliance is not sufficient to create an obligation.
No, because in that case, I value potential sentience, right? So in that case, the child who needs the kidney already has sentience.
Wait, you value potential sentience more than you value actual sentience? I think you have that position wrong.
I'm not saying I value potential sentience more than I value actual sentience.
But you're saying that an obligation exists to potential and not life.
I'm just saying, but I'm saying that, as in, when someone's actually sentient, I think the way you protect them is different.
But you're saying that there are added obligations to potential sentience that are not to sentience.
Sorry?
You're saying that actually potential sentience deserves more rights than actual sentience.
I don't think I'm basing that off of potential sentience. And
Well, you literally said
sentience.
that's different because
I'm,
it's potential
but I'm basing it off of the fact of like just normal like just stages of growth, right? Like we give rights to younger people that we give things to younger people that we would not give to older people. I don't think younger people or older people hold separate values, but I think younger people are more vulnerable than older people in the same sense that I think
you need to articulate what that actual difference fundamentally is. I think that a fetus has the same rights as a 1-year-old child. I'll go that far. I think they have the same rights. I think we can maybe have a different societal obligation to them, but I'm not a tool of societal obligation. And when we talk about we, right, we talk about like Medicaid or something that we're providing to old people by comparison to like middle-aged people. But let's go into that. So you agree in general a concept of unique obligation, unique reliance creating obligation does not apply. So your argument is that in specific to non-sentient life, it does apply. Why?
I think just solely based off the fact that it's something that has not been given yet.
What?
As in, when I think that we should give something the opportunity to grow, so a fetus the opportunity to grow.
But doesn't a 1-year-old have to have an opportunity to grow as well?
I'll go on. I mean, opportunities to grow until they're essentially viable, without the mother, and then after that's happened, they've obviously grown into something else, and at that point they are their own person, right? And
you don't think a fetus is their own person?
When I say their own person, I necessarily mean that they can physically live without the mother. I think that
I'm my own person, even if I need. Sorry, if I have a kidney failing and I rely on someone else for that kid, like this is just circling back to.
I was finishing, but you did kind of cut into my point. So could I finish before you reply, please?
Sure.
Okay. So I think that because the can you repeat the question, please? I've lost my train of thought.
Why do you think there's this special right you're giving that doesn't apply to anyone else to a specific type of human, a non-sentient human?
Okay.
Why are you giving this special right? And so first of all, why are you giving it specially to them? And second of all, where in the world does it come from?
I think because it's just because of the way things sort of grow, right? So in the womb, the fetus has the opportunity to grow and the potential to have sentience. I think that because it does not have sentience yet, and it's just the course of its life, naturally we should protect that. But once it's a natural child and it's split from the mother, I think that it has its sort of different set of, I don't want to say it's a different set of rights, but as in there are different obligations for it.
Because it's not this type of right. You are saying it's a different set of rights.
Well, I think there's separate obligations for it because it's its own person. It's not dependent. Like it's reliant, but not necessarily dependent.
Can you distinguish those two meanings?
Not on the spot, but if I...
What do you mean by those words? What is the distinction you're attempting to make? Because to me, once again, if I have a failing kidney, I am dependent upon that person that can give me it. In the exact same way that a fetus is dependent upon a mother.
I think when I say reliant and not dependent, I mean the way that the fetus is naturally dependent upon the mother. Like just naturally, I don't know.
My kidney fails, I'm naturally reliant on someone else as well. Because that's a natural process.
But you're not naturally dependent on them. That's
Once
just
again, these words are synonyms. You haven't distinguished the two. And in the exact same way that a fetus is naturally dependent or reliant on a mother, I am dependent or reliant on the donor.
I'm using dependent and reliant in two different
so distinguish them.
Definitions. I'm saying dependent as in I'm saying when it becomes so when I'm saying that the fetus is the child that you've used in your analogy is reliant on somebody else who has the same blood type or whatever, that's reliant because they cannot exist without them and they need them there. When I say dependent, I mean that's not natural. That's not how things are actually meant to be, right? That's
Sorry, just to clarify, reliant is the fact of them needing something from someone else to live. Dependent is a special type of reliance that is natural.
I guess in this case, that's how I'm distinguishing them, yes.
Okay, that distinguish has no moral force. Also, it is natural. It is natural for my kidney to fail because it happens in nature.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not natural for you to only be like, for only one person in the entire world to be able to save you from having a kidney failure.
It's actually quite common and would also occur in
one
nature.
person in the entire world. I didn't know that.
Yes. That's why a shit ton of people die without transplants. Because only one person, like, this is a practical measure. You're precisely what I said. Once again, you don't, like, this is a weird hill to die on. The measure is only one person that is capable of being found within the time before you die. If you're saying that conceptually someone else possibly could, right? First of all, with certain transplants, that's just simply not true, right? Like bone marrow transplants very often are just one or two family members. But second of all, the distinction between conceptually possible and practically possible is an irrelevant one because we're living in reality. So yeah, that's extremely common that people never ever find their match. And even when they do, right, oftentimes they only find one viable match.
But finding one match is different than having multiple matches, right?
Not in a morally relevant sense.
But wait, just because when I'm talking about a fetus being inside someone's, like, there's no way that it's because of the way things naturally grow. Although you have one person, okay, let me run back quickly so I can say. So you're talking about how people can only find one person in a lifetime.
Well, both can be true.
People. Sorry?
So both do happen. But there are situations both where there is a practical limitation where they can only find one person, and then there are some cases where the doctor can say with relevantly large certainty this is the only conceptual match due to genetic compatibility.
Could you give me an example of the second one, please?
Bone marrow transplants are very, very commonly doing this.
They say there's only one person that can.
Yeah. Same thing with stem cell transplants. They have an almost universal rejection rate outside of like second cousins or something. They're very, 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 very rare. So as far as we could conceivably tell, in the exact same way as far as we could conceivably tell that a transfer of fetuses would fail.
Repeat that, sorry?
Insofar as we could tell, so we're as certain that a bone marrow transplant from a third or fourth cousin would fail as we are that a fetus transplant would fail. Because a fetus transplant is conceptually possible. Let's be clear, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the strange thing is you're wrong conceptually. It's conceptually there are other people that could help. Just practically it can't. So on both levels, conceptual and practical, the transplants are directly analogous.
Well, having a fetus, I didn't the words you used. What word did you use?
Transplant?
That's not an abortion, is it?
You don't understand what I just said.
Okay, can you repeat it so I can understand better?
So if we're talking about they are reliant, right, such that there's only one person that could conceptually help them, that's not even true in pregnancy.
Okay, well... Oh, okay. Well, in that case... Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it is. Okay, bye.
Bye.
I'll rethink my choices.
Thanks. A transfer is no reason it stopped dialysis, your body functioned normally. What? I do record these, and I do try and upload them relatively quickly. Hello, Professor. What did you send a guest request to disagree on?
Hey, let's. How are you?
I'm doing real well. Did I hear Israel?
What about Israel?
Is that what I just heard you say?
No, I said, how are you?
Awesome. What did you send a guest request to disagree on?
Well, I think you probably got this one, maybe even the most, but the pro LGBT and also, I guess, pro. First of all, can you tell me? I haven't really seen you. I just passed by, but can you tell me where you're at as far as your support for Palestine? Like, are you pro the resistance, or are you where are you? Where do you stand?
I'm a general pacifist, so I don't typically advocate like violence. But under international law, they do have the right to violent resistance. But I never support any violence against civilians or violations of international law.
Wait, sorry. So you're saying you're a pacifist, but but if international law allows it, then you're okay with it.
No, what I'm saying is I will actively and consistently politically condemn violations of international law, but what I will support will generally not be violence. There's a difference between condemning, not condemning, and supporting. You know?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I believe that the Palestinians have the right to return, have the right to exist in the land of Palestine, Israel, Palestine. I believe they have the right to statehood. I believe that Israel is a occupying force in Gaza, which is unequivocally true. And I condemn Israel for their violations of international law and war crimes and genocide within that area.
Gotcha. And do you think that they deserve a statehood with the current, I guess, government, or do you think they need a new government?
It's not to me to determine government. Do I support because I believe in a secular democratic state, constitutionally, that would be incompatible with the current beliefs of the current government within Gaza, not within the West Bank. And so are you asking me if I support their government? No. But I believe the correct answer is to establish a secular democratic state in that area and then allow for democracy amongst the Palestinians. And then hold them to account for any violations of international law they do, just like we do every state, just like I advocate us to do with every state.
All right, so then I'm going to drop because we're on the same page.
Gorgeous.
All right. Take care.
You too. We got some reasonable people on today. Hello, Julia. Has not contacted me. Slay, what did you say?
Hey, well.
To disagree on. Hello.
Oh, hey. So what's your attitude towards the proposition God exists? Do you think it's true or false?
I'm agnostic towards it.
So you're just undecided?
Oh, are you this guy?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand your position.
You're not, because so I've answered this question.
No, don't kick me. Are you undecided on the I'm just trying to help. Are you undecided if it's true or false?
I've decided my answer. I've decided my position on the proposition.
But you have not or have?
I have decided my position on the proposition.
Do you think it's true or false?
I'm agnostic towards the proposition that it's a decided position.
So you're undecided. Are you right in the middle?
I mean,
do you lean atheist?
Helpful. You're such a waste of time.
No, this is how philosophy is done.
You're not gaining any further information by asking me the same question 10 times.
Because I'm trying to help you understand the
challenge
dialectic. Just let me.
Sorry, Grim. I'm going to offer you a challenge. Don't repeat yourself. If you repeat yourself, if you ask a question I've answered more than twice, I will kick you. Cool.
I just try to have a conversation.
Do we understand the rules?
Yeah, sure. I'm just trying to understand your position.
It is apparent you are not.
Because I think you just need to think about this for a minute with me. Okay, just put the guard down for just a few minutes and just think about this.
Not on guard.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. I'm not trying to. This isn't like I'm not trying to debate.
No, but you're being so when you come up and ask the same thing 10 times, you're being disrespectful. So because
I don't think you're understanding.
I don't care what you think. Nothing justifies disrespectful violations of the space. So, yes, I don't have a positive attitude towards you. You don't deserve it, right? Don't tell me how to act. If you want to have a discussion, I'm happy to have a civil discussion with you. But you need not to waste my time and need not to waste our breath. So if you have a new point or an interesting point or something that you think can genuinely convey new ideas, do it. If you're going to ask the exact same question or personally critique or attack, you're not welcome.
Well, do you agree that the theist is going to say that proposition is true and the atheist is going to say that it's false?
Not necessarily. That's not the definition.
What do you mean?
Okay, So we've had this.
So you don't
discussion.
understand philosophy at all, then, or
The definition.
philosophy.
Definition of
I'm
atheism.
not talking about. We're not talking about the definition.
Okay, then we're talking about nothing.
I'm talking about your attitude towards a proposition.
So you ask a definitional question.
I asked you if
Wait, you did. Sorry, you did ask a definitional question. You asked, does the atheist? I mean, is it a necessary property of an atheist that they say that the proposition is false? No, it is not.
So what do you call the person that says that the proposition God exists is false?
I mean, you could call them that, right?
What would you call them?
I mean, you could call them that. You
wouldn't call them a theist, right?
Grim, I've answered your question. Did you hear the answer that
You don't understand at all.
Grim, did you
don't understand. That's fine. You can just kick me down. Just kick me down. It's fine.
I'm glad you're intent on being a victim. Did you hear the answer to my question? To your question?
No, you didn't answer my question.
I did.
You can't be undecided on a proposition and be an atheist at the same time. That's incoherent.
Once again, Grim, just because you disagree with me.
It's incoherent. I'm just showing you why it's incoherent. You're stomping around like a child.
You asked a question.
You don't want to hear it. You have your ears.
Would you like an answer?
Your fingers in your ears, and
You asked a question. Would you like an answer?
What question do you think I asked you?
You asked me, what would you call a person who does not or does negate the proposition God exists? You asked that question, yeah?
I asked you. No. I asked you what
you didn't ask, so what would you call them?
I said, what do you call the person?
Question.
Yeah, what do you call the person that says that the proposition God exists is false?
Which is what I just reiterated. So you did ask that question. Would you like an answer to it?
Yeah, what would you call them?
I mean, you could call them that, was my answer, which I said
Call them what?
The person who says that the proposition God exists is false.
What is that position called? Is there a term for it?
So you could state it. Also, right, under the definition, that person would be classed as an atheist, but it is not a necessary quality of atheist.
Yes, I just don't understand the proposition, the person that is undecided on whether or not God exists. You're right in the middle. That person is not swayed by either side.
I never said that I was undecided.
Well, what other, you either think it's true or false, or it's indeterminate. Right? Or you're undecided on whether it's true or false.
Indeterminate's an interesting term. Indeterminate is a better term than undecided.
So you don't think it can be known if it's true? You don't think that that it's true or false right now? That's not what it is.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer to it. Some agnostics propose that it cannot be known. I do not propose that it cannot be known, but that is some agnostics' beliefs. I propose that it is not known.
Well, do you know that knowledge has to do with a belief, right?
If you want to use the true justified belief definition.
Justified true belief.
I don't know if anyone knows it because they don't. I know that no one knows it because.
But it's either true or false that God exists, right?
Yes, but it is unknown.
So it's not indeterminate.
So I didn't say it was indeterminate. I said that was closer to the truth.
How could it can't be closer to it's either indeterminate or not.
Well, words can get closer to what.
So, we're not going anywhere with that. Can I just ask you one other question?
God, how old are you?
Do you think atheism is true?
Do I think atheism is true? I mean, by my definition, yes.
Okay, and truth is propositional, isn't it?
I mean. Depends what you mean by that, but yeah, in a sense, truth, like
right. So, what proposition is true? What proposition is true? Will what proposition is true? You said atheism is true.
Atheism is either disbelief or lack of a belief. The truth is the justification for the lack of a belief.
Truth has to do with propositions. Truth and falseness has to do with propositions.
Yes, so I'm
what proposition is true?
Sorry, I'm proposing that it is justified to lack of belief.
You don't even know what happened right there, do you?
Grim.
You don't even know what happened right there.
Grim. The proposition, if you were interested in it, is that it is justified to lack a belief in God.
No, that's not. You don't understand. Atheism is true or false. Yeah. What proposition is true?
Well, there are multiple possible propositions of atheism.
The proposition that God does not exist is true, right?
That is one proposition that atheists could propose.
Is that what you hold to?
That is not the proposition that I hold to.
That's not the whole. Oh, so you don't think that? You think that God does exist?
No, I don't hold that proposition. That's different.
But you just said atheism is true, and atheism is the position that God does not exist.
I disagree that that's the sole understanding of atheism.
I didn't ask you if it was the sole understanding of atheism.
So, but then you're characterizing my position as the atheist position under your definition. I'm disagreeing with that definition.
I don't know how you're an atheist if you
therefore disagreeing.
You said
with
you're undecided.
You're pretending
undecided on the
pretending
proposition.
to not know when you just disagree. You saying you don't know is a lie. I don't speak to liars. Stop lying. Stop
You
saying
said you were undecided. You said you were undecided.
Wrong. You're a fucking liar. Stop it. No,
Well, it's either true or false.
Such
right?
a liar. I never said I was undecided. I never said I was undecided. Those words never came out of my mouth. I get really annoyed when people lie. And I've told him multiple times that that's a lie. You've no space in my life to lie about me. If anyone wants to disagree genuinely. Will can debate. Yes, he can. There's no debating with liars, though. That's the thing. Like, am I Jewish? No. I mean, like, I'm an eighth Jewish, but not really Jewish. No, I wouldn't ever call myself Jewish. Can you do an English accent? No. I can do a Southern accent. Anyway. Guest requests are open. Israel is stronger, therefore Israel can end the war someday. What? How would you explain agnostic atheism? I observe that there's no evidence for God and therefore I don't believe in one. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, would you send a guest request to disagree on?
I just wanted to talk to your position on the agnostic atheist part.
Sure. Do you have a contention with it? Or a confusion about it?
Yeah, could you explain a bit further? Because it's quite confusing to me. So you're saying that in what you observe, there's no God.
I have no evidence for God and therefore I lack a belief in one.
So you're using the lack of evidence as evidence to suggest
No.
that there's no God.
I wouldn't suggest that there is no God. I would say that a belief in a God is unjustified.
But
Because there is no evidence.
You don't believe in God, right?
I lack a belief in one. So no, I don't believe in God, but I don't disbelieve in one either.
So the lack of belief is a position.
Yes, it is a justified position to lack belief in something, but it is not the same position as disbelieving in it. Do you understand the distinction I'm making between those?
Yeah, and one leads to the other. The lack of belief leads to a belief against.
No, it doesn't necessarily.
So you lack the belief in God, which means you don't believe in Him.
Yeah, but that's different than disbelieving in something.
Well,
Do you want an example?
sure, you can make that distinction. That's fine. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, would you like an
lack-
example to
Sure, go ahead.
clear this up? What is 10,257 times 260? Is the answer to that, let's see, 50,647? Let's say you didn't know, but don't do the math. Is that the answer? I'm proposing that that's true. Is that the answer?
Is that the answer if I didn't know? What?
Well, yeah, I'm asking you, what's your position on that proposition if you don't know what the answer is?
I'm in disbelief that that's the answer. So therefore I don't believe that's
But are
the
you
answer.
telling me that it's not the answer?
Yeah.
You're telling me that that's not the answer?
Yeah.
And in order to justify that position, you would need to provide evidence of what the answer is, or that it could not conceivably be the answer. Yeah?
I would have to give reason to believe. So yeah.
Cool. But say it was like really complicated calculus that I couldn't even attempt to believe, right? I don't fucking know what the answer is. Someone set out an equation and said this is the answer, but provided no proof for that, right? What I would say is, hey, I don't have evidence for you being wrong, right? But you've given me no evidence for you being right. And therefore, I'm not going to say that this answer is wrong because I don't have sufficient evidence to say it's wrong.
So you don't
I'm just
believe.
going to observe that you don't have enough evidence to say it's right, and therefore I don't believe you. I'm not going to accept that this is the answer, and I'm not going to act upon this being the answer.
So
Do you understand how
obviously-
that's different than saying you are wrong, this is not the answer? Those two are different positions on the same proposition.
I understand that in order for you to avoid having to present evidence for your position, you have to say that you lack belief rather than just saying what you do believe, which is that you don't believe in God.
You're
Is there-
suggesting that my position is inherently dishonest, which is a cowardly way to debate, because
Hold on a
you are
second.
not
so hold
attacking
on.
my actual position. Rather, you are unwilling to attack the actual position because you
haven't-
can.
we haven't
So
even
actually,
gotten-
if you want, and I don't hold any, like, I genuinely believe that everyone lacks evidence for this proposition, and I genuinely believe that I do not have evidence to negate the proposition. It's such
Yeah.
like no balls argumentation. Actually
Okay, I
engage with
haven't
the
even
proposition I'm
presented any-
making, or admit that you cannot sufficiently substantiate a counter to it.
Yeah, so I haven't even presented an argument yet. I'm just observing.
You
what
made a
it seems
critique
to
of mine. It was an annoying critique and an irrelevant critique. There's no way of you proving that I'm dishonest, except for showing that a illogical inconsistency.
Okay, so let me ask you straight. Do you believe in God?
No.
Okay, that's right. So when you say you lack the belief in God, and then I just asked you the question, you're saying, oh, you don't believe in God. Obviously, you're saying there's a distinction, but
So
you're
there
an
are three
atheist.
questions you could ask me. Do you believe God does not exist? No, I don't believe God does not exist. Do I believe in God? No, I do not believe in God. Do I believe God exists? No, I do not believe God exists.
So you don't believe God exists.
Yeah, because I don't believe that it doesn't. They don't exist either. The most clear language you could use would be: Do you believe in God? No, I don't believe in God.
Okay, so you're an atheist.
I mean, I am an atheist, but I think you're probably going to use that word incorrectly.
Okay, so just to put it simply, you don't believe in God, right?
I don't believe in God in the same way that I don't believe that there is a unicorn outside my door, but not because I can prove that there isn't a unicorn outside my door, right?
Okay.
Just because I've been provided no evidence for a unicorn being outside my door. But
No
it's
problem.
entirely possible that one is outside my door, and I'm not suggesting to you that I have evidence that it isn't.
I
We could do
understand.
this
So-
on more common sense propositions. Like my neighbor could very well be outside my door, right, listening in, but I have no evidence that they're doing that. But I also have no evidence that they're not. I just haven't checked.
Yeah, I haven't asked for evidence yet. I'm just asking your belief. And you began the conversation by saying that it's not that you don't believe in God, it's just that you lack the belief in God.
I was trying to be extraordinarily clear in language, but when I say I don't believe in something, right, that can be tantamount to saying you lack a belief in something.
Yeah, I agree. But anyways, look, that's just semantical. What I do want to ask you this question though. Do you believe that morality is subjective?
Do I believe that morality is subjective? Yeah, relevance?
Sorry?
Relevance?
So, because it goes into the conversation about free will, because do you believe in free will?
I don't have good evidence for free will, depending on how you're defining it.
So, do human beings consciously choose right from wrong?
Depends what you mean by conscious. We have a conscious experience. We experience consciousness, and we experience choices being made.
Because when I speak to atheists, they would say to me that we don't have free will, we're subject to the cause and effects.
I think we have pretty solid evidence that we don't have free will, because we have good evidence that our choices are not made by some ethereal being. But I would still take the neutral position. I have no evidence that free will exists.
Okay, so now, if free will doesn't exist, how can you hold someone morally accountable?
So you can. This is actually fascinating. Really easy answer. It's not the slam dunk you think it is. So in worlds where free will does not, so you could imagine a multi-world situation, right? And say in the world where we hold people morally accountable, i.e., we put them in jail, we reprimand them, whatever, more good is done. Okay, so in the world where they're morally accountable, more good is done, even if that world does not have free will. By comparison to a world where they are not reprimanded, they are not put in jail, whatever.
Yeah, I understand that.
That
But
can be true without free will being true. It can be a fallacy. Both can be a fallacy. You having a choice to reprimand or not reprimand can be a fallacy. You reprimanding on the basis of moral accountability can be a fallacy, right? But I actually do not think that if reprimanding doesn't do anything, we shouldn't do it. So I
Wait, what do you-
believe in an
what-
instrumentalist model of reprimanding and punishment.
sorry, what do you mean by reprimanding?
Like punishment or like when you reprimand a
Okay.
child, you're just telling them off.
Okay, so you're saying that it doesn't matter even if we do reprimand, or what do you mean? I don't understand.
What I mean is that simply you can justify holding someone to account, i.e., reprimanding them, putting them on punishment, etc., without believing that some ethereal they were in charge of the actions. We can view them as tools, by and large, and we can say this is this is how you interact with this being, such that the most good comes from them.
I mean, I don't know about that statement, but what exactly, if good and evil don't exist because there's no free will, how can you hold someone accountable? Exactly.
Good and evil would still exist.
How?
How?
Yeah.
By merit of, this is why I said the multi-worlds analysis is helpful. If we say the metric for good is human flourishing, right?
No, but what is
in a
your actual
world
metric
where
for good? Give us
there
your
is more
actual
human
metric for good.
flourishing, that is a better world. That is a world with more good. So that.
Sorry. Can you like what is your actual metric for good? Like what does good mean to you?
I mean, that's extraordinarily complicated in how we actually go down justifying that from top to bottom. But when we're talking on a large scale, what the implications of free will have on morality, they might have some implications, but they don't completely exclude it.
Okay, what I'm trying to get from you is how you can derive morality from the lack of free will. That's what I'm trying to understand.
I'm not deriving it from the lack of free will. Also, you need to set forward an argument. This isn't going to be a one-way discussion. This is going to be a two-way discussion. I'm making propositions, right? And failure of any proposition I have will not be taken to be success of any proposition you put after. So can you make a proposition?
So I'm saying that as an atheist, you cannot hold anyone morally accountable. And
what does it mean to hold someone morally accountable?
To account for someone's actions to be good or bad.
What does that mean? I can't think that. I can't conceptualize that.
I'm saying that as an atheist, if you agree that morality is subjective, then the idea of somebody else doing good or evil is just your opinion, and therefore, is it even real?
Sorry, first of all, you've presupposed that objective morality is incapable within an atheist worldview. But that's a presupposition, which is worthy of challenge. But then I just want to go through the flaws in this suggestion. There are a few. Secondarily, subjective morality. I don't think you understand what it is, because you could still hold people morally accountable by that metric with subjective morality.
Okay, so but what gives you
my opinion is real? Like, my opinion actually does exist, and my subjective views of truth actually do exist.
But what I'm saying is, what gives your subjective perspective more value than someone else's subjective perspective?
Well, if we're talking about subjective morality, right, there isn't a question of value. There's a question of acceptance. And so when you're asking a person why they accept their subjective morality over someone else's, is why they have that subjective morality in the first place, because them holding it necessitates that they accept it. It's circular and mischaracterizes what subjective morality is. But okay, cool. How does this have to do with God? Because even if I conceded that morals couldn't exist in an atheist framework, then we would just be conceding that morals, as far as we can tell, don't exist.
How?
Well, because as far as we can tell, the atheist framework is the correct one.
How?
Because we have no evidence to the contrary.
Okay, so the lack of evidence is evidence, again, is what we're
so the lack of evidence is sufficient in proposing that you lack evidence, yes.
I lack of evidence.
That's the only proposition of an agnostic atheist, is saying that you lack evidence.
Okay, okay. Maybe you don't understand what I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you is, because your position, you're saying I presuppose that you can't have objective morality in an atheist world.
Correct.
Can you prove that?
Well, you do in fact presuppose it.
But can you prove
I'm just
that?
trying to get you to set out your full argument, because there are really, really weak parts, and then there are weaker parts, and then there are less weak parts. I think pretty much every proposition you're making is flawed, right? But I prefer to know the full argument, have you set out the full argument, then we can go down for what's easiest to what is maybe more fundamental in disagreement. Okay. So do you believe that this is evidence for God existing?
Okay. You know,
Is this an argument for the existence of God?
could you say that again, please?
Is this an argument for the existence of God?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. But what I'm saying to
I
you
want
is,
you to get to that now because we're talking about the existence of God. Set out in simple terms your premises and conclusions, right?
Okay, so,
We can talk
so
about it.
let's just start with a simple argument, okay? Do you believe that consciousness can come from
Set
non-consciousness?
out your premises and conclusions. Just fucking set them out. Don't ask me questions. It's your argument. I'm actually, this is annoying.
how I work.
I've told you so many times, right? I'm not, like, I've made my propositions and suggestions. I have one position. That's my
Okay, so
proposition.
Premise
And
number one.
and so I need to know what your position is so that we're on
okay.
even footing in this discussion.
So let me make it let me just quickly say a quick solution. Premise number one. Consciousness cannot come from non-consciousness. Can we agree on that?
I'm not going to agree to your premises yet because I like just set out the argument.
Okay, so premise number one. Consciousness cannot come from non-consciousness. Premise number two. I don't know, let's just say this universe has consciousness. Premise number three. Consciousness gave life to this universe. Or, yeah, let's just say that. Can we agree on that? Very quick.
So these are your three premises. Is that a complete list of your premises?
Yeah, very vaguely.
Okay, what's the conclusion from those premises?
That a conscious being gave life to the world.
What does it mean to give life?
To create life.
To create life. So one of your premises is that consciousness gave life to this universe.
Consciousness
Your
gives
conclusion is that a conscious being gave life to this universe. That sounds to me like circular logic.
Explain.
So if I premise, if I say this cup is white, if that's my conclusion, and then one of my premises is that this cup is white, that's circular logic, because the argument presupposes its conclusion. So your third premise, consciousness gave life to the universe, is almost directly identical to your conclusion, a conscious being gave life to the world.
Right, so do you disagree with that?
But it's just not a syllogism. So your argument fails for
Yeah, it's
lack
very
of-
quick. It's very quickly done, right? This
Yeah, it's
isn't how
wrong. Okay, I mean it's wrong.
Okay. It's a simple
It's a
question.
failure of a syllogism. It's not an argument. It's a proposition. You're making a proposition. I want you to justify the proposition without circular logic.
Okay, so I'm trying to find an axiom with you, but we're not going to agree on in the beginning of the universe. You believe that
I don't care to debate your propositions until you set out a functional syllogism.
Okay, I didn't come up here with a syllogism. I came up here with a position.
Came up here with nothing. It come up here with at least okay. What is your conclusion?
My conclusion is that life gave life.
Life gave life.
It's quite simple. So what I'm asking you to do,
And what's your evidence for that?
my evidence for why life can't come from non-life.
Yeah. So what's your what's your premises for that conclusion?
Well, it's a contradiction. Life can't come from non-life. So
In what way is it a contradiction?
So something that is alive can't come from something that is dead or not.
That can't be a premise of your argument.
Can we agree on that?
That's restating the conclusion.
This is how it works. Just follow me here. Just follow me here. Life can't come from non-life. Can we agree on that?
I'm not going. You haven't provided any evidence for it. You give me no reason to accept it.
Just be honest. Life can't come from non-life. So
that's
we're
your.
live.
If that's the end of this discussion, right? Then there's
I'm
no reason
asking
to
you a
accept it.
question.
So
I'm asking you a question.
so I do disagree, but I'm not going to take that position. There's no evidence for
Wait, so
it. You've provided no reason to accept that.
There's no evidence that life can't come from non-life.
Yeah, please provide it.
Okay, so now you're just being disingenuous. This is just disingenuous.
I'm being disingenuous by asking you to provide evidence for your conclusion.
To provide evidence that life can't come from non-life.
That's your conclusion. You said it was your conclusion.
I never said that was my conclusion.
You did. I
said-
asked you what your conclusion was, and that's what you said.
Okay, like I said to you,
Sorry, am I crazy, guys? Am I crazy? Did I say that? Is that the exchange that happened?
Okay, so look.
Sorry,
what I'm saying-
Amadeus. I did ask you that, and you did answer that, right?
Yeah, but that's not what I meant. I didn't
Okay,
mean
cool.
that.
So when you said it wasn't my claim, you were wrong.
Okay, so now can you work with me here? Or are we just gonna keep being disingenuous? That's
I'm
what
not. How am I being disingenuous?
Okay, so then can we
Fallacy
agree
am I
that life can't come from non-life? Can we agree on
I
that?
didn't make that. I didn't prove it. Give me a reason to believe.
You can see this is the issue.
The issue is I'm not accepting your premise on first thought. How is that
I'm asking you a
disingenuous?
question. Forget about the premises and syllogisms. I'm asking you a simple question. Can life come from non-life?
What's the relevance of this question?
See, and this is the issue we have there.
What's the relevance of the question? I'm not going to
The
engage in relevant or
the
fallacious
relevancy
argumentation.
the relevancy is that God is life. Okay.
Okay.
God is-
So what is? I want to know what you're trying to prove to me.
I'm asking you a question before.
I'm not going to engage in a discussion without an end.
There will be.
I've set forward this is so okay. What's actually disingenuous, right? What is actually rhetorically fallacious is failing to provide a claim when the others have engaged in a claim.
Brother, I'm just asking.
That is
a
actually
question.
so. The way debates go is you compare the validity of the two claims proposed,
This
and then
isn't
you
a
accept
professional debate.
the more valid claim.
This isn't a professional.
You are failing.
You're not
Amadeus.
allowing
You are
me.
failing to provide an actual claim,
You're not allowing me.
and
to
which is a
present
rhetorical
my-
foul.
You're not allowing me to present my argument the way I want to present it. You're trying to force me to do this syllogism stuff that I didn't come.
I don't
to
give a
do.
shit if you present it in the form of a syllogism. I want you to make a fucking
He's
claim.
being disingenuous when you're forcing me to present my.
I'm not
argument
forcing you to
certain
do
way that I
anything.
want
Also,
to.
it's a debate.
Okay, so
You can't.
and that's my questions.
So, what's your goal in this debate? What are you trying to prove?
My goal is to show you that there is no way we can exist if it wasn't for a conscious live being to bring us into existence.
Okay, that's your goal. For a conscious live being to bring.
And I'm starting by asking a simple question: can life come from non-life?
So you don't make arguments with questions generally.
Okay,
As evidence.
I'll present my case the way I want to. Will, okay.
And I'm not going to engage in it.
let's-
So okay, can life come from non-life? I have no evidence that it can't.
So therefore, life.
Therefore, I have no reason to accept the positive premise that it can't.
So you're here just this is comical. This is just comedy. So you can't agree that life can't come from non-life. You can't agree with that.
Just yeah, if you're saying I'm being disingenuous from incredulity, right? Then you're gonna have to show that it's a universally accepted position, which it's not.
So you're being skeptical. You're not sure.
So my philosophic practice is a skepticism, yes.
Oh,
But I have no evidence for it, so I have no reason to believe it. So the starting position of any position is neither negation or proposition.
okay. So if you don't know whether or not life can come from non-life, can you give me an example or like some reason why?
So I'm not proposing that life can come from non-life. I'm saying that you lack evidence for proposing the negation.
I don't. Okay. So you want to be disingenuous to
Can you
start
define what
with-
disingenuous means?
You don't want to be honest in this conversation.
What am I being dishonest about? What do I actually believe that I'm not telling you?
Because you know that life cannot come from non-life, but you want to
No, I
sit
don't.
here and start being skeptic.
No, I don't. You're wrong.
Explain. Okay, what's holding you back? Let's talk about it. What's holding you
I've
back?
told you multiple times. I genuinely, actually believe the words I'm saying.
What words?
Me along with like 95% of scientists in the world agree that there's no plausible evidence, at least, for life not being able to come from non-life. Right? Abiogenesis is a widely accepted possibility for this universe. There's no epistemic reason, justifiably, that's universally known, such that it would be absurd to ask for specific evidence to deny it.
Right.
The burden. Do you understand the concept of burden of proof?
What the hell? Sorry, say that again, please.
Do you know how burden of proof works?
Right. So now, when it comes to burden of proof, you are making a claim about scientists.
No, I'm not making shit. You're making the claim. I've made my claim. The only
what
claim
claim
I'm
did I make?
engaging in, the only claim I'm engaging in, is that you have insufficient evidence for the existence of a God. That is
Yeah,
a
so
positive claim that I am
what claim
happy
have I
to
made?
prove, that I'm happy to provide evidence for. Right. But, ooh, give me 1 second.
Come on, like guys, can we be professional? Can we be professional? Apparently, we don't know if life only comes from life.
Do you know? Okay, let me ask the simple question. Do you know what the like theory of burden proof function says? Do you know how that works?
Yeah. So
Generally, Amadeus. Sorry. Yes. Cool. Generally, who holds the burden of proof?
to prove that life cannot come from non-life.
From just in general claims,
Yeah.
who holds the burden of proof?
I haven't made a claim though. I've asked a question.
Oh, okay, make a claim. Actually, you have made a claim. Your claim is that there's no way we could exist if not for a conscious life being to bring us into. I'm not going to engage with you if you don't make a claim, because that is rhetorically unfair.
Okay, so then I'll just say that we would just say that in terms of what life is, we'll just say that it's the law of identity. If something isn't alive, it cannot give life. Just use the law of identity to prove.
So law of identity is your proof to which proposition? To prove this. Okay, so you're trying to prove that there is no way we could exist if it were not for our conscious life bringing us into it. And your proof for this is the law of identity?
Yeah.
Okay, law of identity. The law of identity strictly means that each thing is identical with itself. How does that philosophic principle prove your point?
Right. So if something isn't alive, okay, then it cannot give life.
How does the law of identity
sorry,
prove
let
that?
me
Law of identity proposes that X equals X.
So only things that have the property of life can give life. Can we agree on
That's
that?
your proposition.
Can we agree on
I'm
that?
asking you to prove it. You said
I'm
that the
asking a
law of
question. I'm asking a
identity
question.
proves it. The
I'm
law of
asking a
identity
question.
does not prove it.
I'm asking you a question. Only things that have the property of life can give life. Do you
I have no evidence for that. I've answered it 10 times. I'm not going to answer it again.
You have no. This is the disingenuous things that I'm talking about. This is pure insanity, bro.
Okay, if it's
This is pure
disingenuous,
insanity.
leave. I'm not going to answer the question again.
Like because you know, as soon as you agree with that, you have to leave atheism. You have to leave atheism. So you have to do this skepticism on things you don't even know yourself. Everyone knows that life can only come from life.
Saying everyone knows something is not sufficient evidence.
Well, this is the thing. When it comes to sufficient evidence, you don't have enough evidence to provide for your subjective morality. And also
You've provided no
the
evidence.
lack of-
Zero. You haven't even attempted to provide any evidence.
Okay, so I'm asking you questions, but you don't want to answer them.
Yeah, I don't want to answer a
I
question
guess
because
you
you're
don't-
not even. You're
Well,
not.
I guess-
You
I
will
guess
say
you both
consistently
don't know
that you're not
anything.
even proving a proposition.
I guess
There's no point in answering a question if we're not having a discussion.
Because you don't want to. You're running away from actually taking.
I'm not running away from shit.
You're just
You're not
saying
doing
you don't
anything.
know
You have to
anything.
exist for me to not run away from something.
All of a sudden, you don't know anything. All of a sudden, you don't know
Sorry,
anything.
it's not on me to prove anything. My proposition doesn't require a set of knowledge. It's on you because you're proposing a set of knowledge.
What you're showing me is you can't defend your position because you don't.
I've defended my position. Can you attack it?
I can't attack something you're claiming you don't know anything about.
Sorry, I do. The set of knowledge that my
Okay, so then
position
when I
does
ask you a
require
question, but you
is a
don't
suggestion
answer it.
that
When I
I
ask you a
hold a
question, you
complete
don't
set
answer it.
of evidence that
So-
exists.
You're
You
asking me
have
to
provided
attack a
nothing.
position.
So Amadeus, I'm going to give you one more chance.
You're asking me to attack a
Amadeus,
position. You're claiming you don't know.
Amadeus, I'm going to give you one more chance. One more. And then I'm going to leave because I have to go anyway. What is the proof to your claim?
Okay, so then thank you for your time. Everyone have a lovely day. This guy apparently doesn't know anything. All of a sudden, he doesn't know his own positions.
Lol. I think that's personally embarrassing for him. You can kiss 100 boys in bars. You can stop the feeling. You can just the way you are. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. You can kiss 100 boys in bars. You can just stop the feeling. Hey guys, what I will say is that there are 200 of you right now in this live. There are 200 of you. And I have never asked anyone to support a charity. I don't think. I don't think I have. Okay. But I am trying to raise money for this family in Gaza, and it is linked in my bio. And literally, I want every single one of you, you all have $1. Yeah? You all have $1 or 50 cents. Because what matters is that this gets moved up in the GoFundMe thing. And the more people we have saying, boom, 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 boom. If you have $1, go on there and treat it like a like. Okay? You can send $1 to like it once. You can send $2 to like it twice. Please, I don't care how much you give. Oh, you have to donate at least $5? It's a little annoying. Then DM someone and get $5 together. Go to your friends and be like, hey, Queens. You only have Cash App. Yes. If you send a Cash App and say for donation, I will donate it on your behalf. Okay? If you send a Cash App and note it, because people also just send me money. So I need to know what it's for. So say for donation and I will note it. Cool? But then $1. I expect $201 to be sent into my Cash App, my loves. Cool? We can do that? All right. Love you all. Bye. Thank you so much. We care about this. This is a family that has been displaced and destroyed during the occupation in Gaza. And it's our responsibility as, people in the West to take care of people that our funds, our money has hurt. All right. Love you all. Bye. If you're also, guys, if you're on low income, if you can't afford it, don't do it. Obviously, don't do it. Yeah. But if you can do $1, do $1. If you can't do $1, don't do $1. But please.